So I've wanted to make a video like this for a long time, where I literally just sit down, edit, and I just sort of get what's off my chest in a sort of podcasty video style form. But yeah, I've been making this video about time, and it effectively talks about how in the video prior to last, I just ran out of time. Like 1 week turned into 2, and then the next, before you know it had been over a month since I'd uploaded. And as a creator, you sort of feel like you get punished if you're not creating, or if you're not uploading in the right sort of manner, or if you're not doing it in the sort of like quick enough turnaround time. And I think that's quite detrimental to creators, especially for people who are starting out on YouTube. It can be quite disheartening and effectively makes you question, it makes you question what's the point? What's the point in creating YouTube videos for such a small reward? And I think that's the sort of trade-off, isn't it? It's like you put all this effort and energy into something, and then it can either be responded in a positive manner, or it doesn't. It sort of gets a bit stale, and you don't get the views that you're after. And that can be really detrimental to how it makes you feel. And if I'm honest, I've had it in the past where I've made a video and it's not performed as well as I wanted it to have done. And that it really takes its toll on you. It really makes you feel shit about your work. And it's weird because as a creator, you want to have your work perceived in a positive manner. But of course, there's going to be criticism surrounding different topics and the videos you put out by your audience. But that's when you get the audience. The hardest thing is to actually get people to view your video. And it takes, on a personal note, it's taken me, over a year and a half of constantly grinding to now starting to see some sort of numbers and diving into some analytics. It's still very overwhelming. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. I mean, on a good day, it's like I wouldn't do anything else for the world. But on a bad day, I just want to curl up in a ball and just throw the towel in. And I guess that's the real sad thing about being a creator in this YouTube space, is you're not getting rewarded for the blood, sweat and tears that you're putting into the work. And it's almost like you're having to find your audience and play into the algorithmic game of making work that sort of gets pushed out in the correct manner. And I mean, that's not what being a creator is about. Being a creator is about doing things that you love to do as a creator. And I think when you're having to sort of bottleneck your creativity and sort of funnel it into what YouTube will push, is that true authenticity? I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know. I've been, for this video, I've been taking it a lot slower. I've been incorporating some different projects, and I think that's one thing I'm really looking forward to this video, is incorporating new work that isn't necessarily related to the topic in which I'm talking about, but just a visual stimulus that is beautiful. And it's a trade-off. I don't know if it's going to go down. I don't know if the work that I'm putting into this video is going to be, appropriately pushed out. It's a horrible game that you sort of find yourself in at the early stages of being a YouTube creator. But that's not to say that you should stop. I mean, I've had videos that have done really, really well, and I've barely put any time into them. And then there's videos that I've put so much time into, weeks worth of work, and they've been a complete flop. But it's finding a balance. It's finding the creative balance and finding your voice in this space, and allowing to figure out what that voice is. And then I guess with being truly authentic to yourself and being authentic to who you are as a creative, it's only then that you'll sort of gravitate your own audience. I truly believe that YouTube as a space is changing, and I think the sort of Mr. Beast-esque videos of high production and very clean, polished, intense retention schemes are dying out. Well, I hope they are, because I mean, I can't make videos like that on with no budget, you know? Like, being a content creator at the early stages of being a YouTuber basically means that you put every last bit of free time into making these videos. And yeah, when you're not making a money, or if you're in my situation not monetized, it's really degrading to have like low retention or to not have the right amount of views. Basically just, it puts you in a bit of a negative loop cycle that I find myself, I found myself in this a few times, where I find it hard to get out of that sort of negative loop, and to get myself out of that rut. Turns out I'm not a very good multitasker. I can't edit very well whilst talking. But maybe I should quickly talk into my edit process. So for this video, I just wanted to make it really easy for myself, take it back to the very easy like storytelling, beginning, middle and end. And yeah, I'm just running this video with some quotes. So there's one here from William Penn, and then there's one here from Buddha, and there's another one which I'm actually gonna put in now, because then I can sort of carry on with what I'm doing. But yeah, like I was saying, it's a very, very interesting space currently in YouTube. And I think there's definitely a new wave of creators that are starting to see the day of light, the light of day? Starting to see the light of day, and creators that have been around, and creators that have been around for a very long time, which are now starting to quit, and yeah, they're starting to basically give up, because the YouTube sort of realm, the YouTube space is changing, it's diversifying, and this sort of, I would like to class myself a sort of new wave YouTuber. I mean, I've been making YouTube videos now for years. I even had a previous channel to this, which I ended up sort of deactivating because I wanted to concentrate on creating videos that, you know, were a bit more meaningful, a bit more deep, a bit more like leaning into my expertise in storytelling and editing. And so far so good. I've had like a really fun time in creating these videos, but there's been a few trade-offs that, yeah, I find hard to come to terms with, mostly to do with like the satisfaction rate when a video performs really well, comparing that to a video that does really, really badly. That for me as a creator is very overwhelming. I get quite up and down emotions, and that's not sustainable. Like, I definitely feel YouTube as a space needs to do something to address that, because even if you jump into the analytics and you've got all these green arrows pointing up and red arrows pointing down, like that, it makes you feel shit. And I think this sort of like praising the good work and telling you off for the bad work is a quite a toxic space to find yourself in. But I do understand that like YouTube needs to make a revenue, and they need to do the things that, you know, keeps their viewers on the platform and their creators engaged with wanting to create more content. I'm just finding it very toxic and a bit of a weird space to navigate currently. And I guess that's why I'm making this video, because my previous video was so intense. Like, maybe I should let me just jump into this. Like, I don't fully think people will understand how intense the edit was. You see, making videos like this is so much more easier. Just jumping on camera, talking, being a bit more free flow is sometimes the way that I just want to make YouTube videos. I feel like maybe I will upload more of these sort of talky, rambly bits and bobs, but I don't know how good it's going to do. But again, look, that's me, like, that's me feeding into the whole construct of, is it going to do good? Is it going to perform well? Is it going to perform badly? You know, like, at the end of the day, who cares? I feel like creators should just be creating work for them and not have to worry about this bullshit. But we do, because we all want to be successful, and it's that sort of like little egotistical drive and that little devil on our shoulder that just keeps on pushing us to want to feed this beast. But what's the fix? Like, I don't know what the fix is, because at the end of the day, if you are making bad stuff, people aren't going to come and watch your things, right? So I guess I get it, but then I don't get it. So look, you can see here how absolutely intense my previous edit was. You know, I can jump into the simplest of things. Like I can jump into this section here where you're seeing this finding work as a creator is tough, because it is fucking hard to find work as a creator. Like it's such a saturated market and brands are so hard on you. But look at this. So I just want to show you like how much work went into this previous upload, and I guess that's what sort of stimulated me recording this video and the video that I'm going to upload after this video, is because this film here, this YouTube video was an absolute beast to make. I've worked on big like projects, small projects, and this was a real test of my creative experience. That's not to you know, take away from how much fun I had in the process, because at the end of the day I wouldn't have made the film if I wasn't enjoying it. But I think it's important to be real with my audience, with you guys, about how much time and effort is put into these things, and how much, you know, attention to detail that I'm trying to put in to just craft some sort of engaging narrative, a slightly different narrative, something that is not just your typical basic sit down piece, a bit more engaging but with lots of different stimulus. And look, so for example, this finding work as a creative thing, if I jump into that nest, I then got all these other nested, and then if I jump into this nest, I've got work, and then if I jump into this one, I've got all the little clips that make up this section here. And these are flurried and like sprinkled all the way through, and you know, that probably took a good 40 minutes to an hour to do. No one knows that. No one knows how much effort goes into these things. People just watch it, and then, you know, these videos have a lifespan of sometimes maximum 2 days on YouTube. And actually that's sort of something that I do want to touch on. I do prefer YouTube in that respect, the sort of sense that you can make a project and it can have longevity, much longer than short form content, where if you're making a video, for example, this video I snipped and put onto Instagram as a sort of social cut, and it has a lifespan of 24 hours maximum. Like that's it. Like, I have to set the tone and say that this project was a lot of fun to make. It was just really fucking hard. There was a lot of complex bits and bobs, editing, sound design, liaising with other amazingly talented creatives. Kerem, if you're watching, thank you, bro. You know how much I love you and appreciate everything you put out into this world. And I'm sure people who are watching this have gone to find you and have also realised how much of an incredibly talented human you are. And yeah, music for me is something that is a real big driving force in my films. This film was actually, it was actually blessed with 2 incredible tracks from you, Kerem. So thank you for that. And I think what they did is they sort of like bring a tone to my films that I try and convey more than any other creator. Like I really have a strong relationship with my music, and I think, yeah, Kerem produces the most incredible tunes, and tunes that I can resonate with real deeply, to the point where I ended up using 2, and they create 2 different moods in this sort of film. So like, what else can I dive into? Like, yeah, like these little sections here, they take up a lot of time. Like all of these, I have to, this is just the edit. This isn't the filming part either. This is just me cutting away. I think in total this was a 3-day filming project. So I broke it into like 3 sections. So there was like sort of the B-roll, these sort of like flurry sections, and then there was the interview sections, which, I've got lots of different projects going on right now. Sorry, I just wanted to film something, I just wanted to keep that creative block at bay and just allow me to roll on something that isn't necessarily polished. It isn't necessarily like the best thing I'm ever going to make, but it's authentic. It's authentic to me, my process, to you. I want to showcase like what being a creative is, and how actually I think YouTube has really kind of changed my mindset to the whole creative spectrum. And I kind of love it. I love it, but I definitely hate it at the same token. It's definitely a love-hate relationship. But look, here I go. So all the match frames, everything here. So this is the section. This is the section, and I will do like a full breakdown video to this video, but I just wanted to dive in quickly whilst I was making this little video. So yeah, what I do is I segregated this into 3 sections. You know, this section here, lots of different angles, and then I build the sort of story around the VO. I then interject lots of different visually stimulating B-roll, sort of stuff like this that I take pride in filming and actually get a lot of satisfaction filming it. There's a lot of fun and there's a lot of like work that goes into these videos. And the question is like, is it wasted? Is it wasted energy? Am I doing this for a reason? Am I just plodding on for what am I trying to achieve here? And I think the thing I want to make you guys realize is that I'm creating videos that I want to create. I'm not creating videos that feed into this sort of algorithmic beast. No, I'm not into that idea. I don't care that you have to be this way or that way. I want to be my way, and I think that's really important for me to address. And I don't understand why I haven't made this video sooner. Because every creator is different, but then you get these creatives who have started out wanting to create things for them and then very quickly slip into the sort of feeding the beast. And when I'm referring to the beast, I'm meaning YouTube as a whole, trying to get views, trying to, work that analytic game. But back into this project, again, just toning it down. You can see here from the beginning to the end of my most previous project, it took me 4 versions and a monumental amount of work to get it over the line, getting it all tied in and making sure that the audio and the VO is all cohesive and actually makes sense, and that I'm not, repeating myself on topics, and that I'm keeping a flow and then marrying that up with the tunes and making sure that the VO sort of breathes and allows the tune to come in and bring a bit more depth into the project. And then I'm utilizing visuals and trying to cut, and here by the way, if you haven't watched this bloody video, go and watch it, because it took a lot it took a lot of time for me to make, and I'm really proud of it. But yeah, I would do like quite a comprehensive, detailed review / breakdown on how I did come to creating it. But there was a lot. It's basically what I'm trying to say is, from my previous video, there was a lot I had to do to make this, and yes, I had fun, but it really took its toll on me. If you're comparing this timeline into this timeline, you're already seeing how much more I'm letting the VO do the work. I'm not trying to lead the story with visual storytelling. I'm not trying to let the B-roll overcompensate and do some of the heavy lifting. No, I'm just talking from my true authentic self, and I'm just letting the piece breathe. I actually want to try and make a few more longer form videos. That's why I'm making this video now, because I want to slow things down. But then I also want to be able to come in with like a big project when I've got the energy and the motivation to do so. And again, I guess it all comes down to balance. For me, being a YouTuber, or even just creating films for YouTube, there needs to be balance with what I'm creating. There needs to be a balance with the work that you put out, which, really makes you feel good as a creator and can allow you to flourish as a creator. And then for the projects where you're truly putting everything in. Like, you're putting so much energy, you're putting, utilizing all the motivation you've got for that project. And there needs to be a balance there, because if it's too heavy on one side of making projects that are really, really hard and, timely and require a lot of energy compared to projects like this, which are, way more toned down, way more chilled, a lot more just real, raw, authentic to what's being said, and just sort of like just saying it how it is. That's important to be able to keep on creating on this platform. I mentioned that I had a big monumental health scare, and that was basically, that health scare started because I was working too much. I was trying to create too many different things. I didn't really know when to stop. And it's interesting because as I read this quote on the screen, it's so just perfect. The key is to not spending time but into investing it. And I think the problem that we have as content creators, YouTubers, storytellers, whatever you want to brand yourself as. For myself, I brand myself as a filmmaker because I feel as if the pieces of work I make sort of create deeper emotions and tell stories in a more traditional sense, but then also, can lean into that content creation-esque. But yeah, I like to brand myself as a filmmaker. But I think what's very easy for us to do as creatives in general is to spend a lot of time on particular things. Like, going back to this project here, this is V1, let me just jump into V4. I spent so much time working this front section. Like, I spent maybe, I don't know, like more than a quarter of my time just working this section. And I'd forgotten about the rest of the video. I forgot that it was needing to be a whole film. And with YouTube, I find myself spending a lot of time thinking about projects and not actioning projects. And I think that's because I'm not monetized. If I were to maybe get monetized, maybe the sort of structure and the way I were to approach work or my projects would be a lot different. Maybe I would fully just dive in head first. And I mean, that's not to say I don't already dive in head first. Yes, I class myself as a full-time YouTuber because I'm in a fortunate position to be freelance, and I segregate a bit more time to YouTube now than I did last year. For good reason, because I see the potential in myself, and also because I see the potential in the platform. I think the platform's changing. I think it's diversifying. I think content creators are changing and slowly developing into real, true artists. And I think that's where YouTube as a space is beautiful. I'm now understanding that the work I put out on YouTube isn't just content. It's art. It's art that you get to enjoy for free. The only thing that you might have to do is sit through an advert for 30 seconds. But that's okay, because you're allowing people like myself to potentially get paid to create art. And I think without art, the world would be a fucking boring place. It would be a shit place. I wouldn't want to be here with no art. I'm a very visually stimulated person. I need things to jump at me. I need things to help me in my travels. I need to read books. I need to listen to music. I need to look at sculptures. I need to go to museums. I need to look at, I need to do all these things that give me inspiration to be me. This video is a ramble, but maybe you can take something out of it. Maybe you've even put this in the background and you finished it, and I don't know when this video is going to end, but maybe you'll get to the end of this video and you go, yeah, you know what? That wasn't a waste of time. I've learned something through Luke about myself. And I think, sort of continuing this conversation on as I start to wiggle my way through this edit, that's what I want to make. I want to make films that make people think. I don't want to just make videos that are numbing. I don't want to just make videos that are boring to watch and get people angry at the point of which they're like, oh, why did I bother? Why did I invest my time? Because, you know, as me talking to you guys, I know how important your time is. I know that you could be doing better things with your time, but instead, no, you've chosen to put a little bit of trust into me, and I don't want to abuse that trust. I want you to come onto my YouTube channel and get something from it. I want you to feel things. I want you to question things, and I want to stimulate things, or even at a push, I want to try and inspire people, you know? And this was great in the early stages of YouTube. That was effectively what the platform did very, very well. But then it got diluted with this sort of like toxic mindset of the sort of golden handcuffs, as I call them. The sort of mindset of like people chasing money, people creating things and only doing things for the trend and for instant gratification. And you got these sort of like overnight boom successes that would get thousands upon millions upon tens of millions of views. But actually, what would it do? It was a quick dopamine hit for an audience. And I think YouTube's changing. I think audiences are changing. I think people are starting to understand that doom scrolling isn't good for your mental health. Doom scrolling only makes you compare. You know, it has such negative implications on you as an individual. And I don't know, man, like, what's the point? What's the point in making this shit if it doesn't actually feed into any greater good? You know, I eventually have dreams and aspirations like everyone watching this video does. But for me, I've always done this. I will always try and do this. I love making films. I love telling stories. I love filming and capturing and observing time and just watching life go by and integrating with it in a more deeper manner. I love being able to capture moments and freezing them in time. And honestly, I count my blessings. I'm just gonna make the shit that I want to make. Okay, that's the crux of this video. Maybe it's even the title of the video. Actually, no, I tell a lie. It won't be the title of this video because I'm gonna have to come up with some strategic video title and thumbnail that gets the hits and gets people locked in to watching it. Because at the end of the day, I am trying to hustle and I am trying to, you know, make a living. And I see a future for myself on this platform. I really do. I really love the sort of engagement element that you can have in the comments. I love everything that this sort of platform has done. I love some of the OG filmmakers such as Casey Neistat and others like Ben Brown, and you know, I've mentioned all these people before. I love what they have done, what they have achieved, and how they have taken this thing and turned it into their own. And now it's my turn. It's my turn to tell my story, to engage with you guys. It's my turn to really showcase what I've got up my sleeves. And I just, you know, deep down, I just love making videos. I think my big aspirations and something that I will come into at a later date is my love for the planet. Like, let's be honest, it is a beautiful place that we live on. We are very lucky. Humans have totally fucked it, and that's okay because that's what animals do. That's, you know, we all have holding capacities and we all have hierarchy within sort of like animal kingdom. We all fight, but I guess the difference is we are fighting against the animal kingdom. We're not just fighting amongst ourselves. We're actively making a negative impact on this world. But I don't see it as all doom and gloom. I see like even scenes like this. I see this scene here as a beautiful. There's so much going on here. There's the beauty within this scene is crazy. It's not even that nice of a shot, but if you like really dissect it, and the funny thing is, I haven't even smoked a spliff, so I don't even know where this stuff is coming from. I'm just in the mood to talk. Like, for example, light. That's the foundations of photography. That's the foundations of filmmaking, isn't it? It's light. And here we have like LED lights. We have different like fluorescent lights. We've got neon lights in the distance. This was a little trip I went to. I was in Japan recently, and I was absolutely blown away by not only how beautiful the countryside and the sort of inner cities are, but how beautiful the people are, the culture. And it's so deeply rooted within their society. Their culture is beautiful, and I'm so grateful that I was able to go with my good friends, and I'm sure in due course, in a not so distant video, that you're going to be able to see some of this stuff. I'm utilising the B-roll here in this video because I just thought I like, you know, I don't mind recycling content, but I think there comes to a point where, you know, if I jump back into my previous project, there's stuff in here that is all new. So all this stuff here is totally reshot. All this stuff is, you know, real new. But then if I dive into, I was telling the story about making a showreel. If I dive into my showreel, again, it's me. You can see me working on my showreel here, but I've used this footage countless times. I've really recycled it, upcycled it multiple times purely to tell stories. And I guess that's the documentarian in me. I don't care about reutilizing footage. If it works, if it tells the story, I'm gonna put it in. It's like my own personal like archive footage bank. And it's fucking awesome, isn't it? It's just wicked. But yeah, anyway, diving back into what I was just talking about, I'm utilizing my Japan footage, and this is stuff that, you know, this is stuff that no one's ever seen. I'm really excited to sort of see what I can get out of it, and the stories that I'm going to be telling later on in time, they're going to be cool. There's going to be a lot of like mixed format video style edits coming out, and it all comes back down to what I was talking about earlier, when I found the sort of inner excitement to create the projects that I want to create, I will get on them. And I guess when the balance levels out, I'll then decide which sort of path I'm gonna walk, and which energy I put into which projects. And for the time being, I'm slowing it down. I've done a lot of real quick, like chop style edits, and they're great. They're really fun to make, but they absolutely drain you. Like, I think it'd be rude for me to not be honest. Sometimes it's important to be real. Sometimes I think to be a bit more personal rather than just be this highly strung individual, and pretend like everything's, you know, that sort of classic social media, everything looks great from social media. Well, actually, sometimes it doesn't always go that way, and especially with creating films for platforms that only get a certain amount of days of coverage. Yeah, it's a weird emotion that I think it's important for me to get off my chest. It's an emotion that I needed to get off my chest. There's a few takeaways that, like, if you're thinking about creating a YouTube video, like, first and foremost, just do. I love YouTube. I have been an early adopter of YouTube. I've had multiple YouTube channels. I've been creating YouTube videos for plus 10 years. A lot of you guys don't know this, that I used to daily vlog. And I am actually kind of thinking about like making another vlog, but definitely not daily. You know, I've been around YouTube and I've enjoyed the content creators that have come and gone. And like I've mentioned in this video, I'm really excited to be a part of this sort of new wave, this new generation of filmmakers, this new wave YouTuber scene that's sort of brushing through the space. And if someone were to ask me, is it worth making a YouTube channel in 2024? I would 100% say yes. Like, I absolutely love the feeling of pressing that upload button, the endorphins that you get, the sort of like panic rushed state that you find yourself in when you do hit the upload button is a really, it's a drug. It's a big drug. And there's so many more things that YouTube has done to me that I would have never have even guessed. Like, it sort of has given me a bigger drive to want to make. It's given me opportunities. It's pushing me to scope out and to actually think about who I am as a creative. It allows me to communicate with other like-minded beings and to actually relish the sort of conversation and the topics of conversation in this space. And I think YouTube is changing. I think they're sort of showcasing people's work who aren't just the big dogs. I think they're changing the algorithms and allowing audience to find more organic creators, and I think it's just becoming a nicer space in general. Don't get me wrong, the internet is the internet, and the good comes with the bad, and sometimes the bad can be very bad. But for myself, I try to not really bother or be bothered about that side of the internet. I don't really get hung up on the bad comments, because I mean, that individual is probably in a bad place to be even to even warrant needing to type something bad or negative or whatever. Like, critiques are critiques, and any, you know, that saying of any bad press is good press. So yeah, it's just food for thought, isn't it? Anyway, again, I've been rambling. I'm probably going to leave that video here. I do want to concentrate on this, and I've spent a lot more time doing this, but swings and roundabouts. I've really enjoyed making this, and I can just get this out. It's almost like an easy fix to my problem of not being able to upload quick enough. So yeah, let me know in the comments if I should do more of these rambling, talking videos. And maybe the next one I do is a bit more structured. Maybe I can actually sort of create a bit more of a narrative and to showcase some more bits. Or if there's anything that you do want to watch, just leave a line. If there's any topics or any technical things that you want to learn, let me know. This is our space. It's not just me dictating what I put out. I want to make it as inclusive as possible. So yeah, with that, I'm not going to tell you to like or subscribe, but if you want to, you can. That would be great. Thank you. I'm going to leave you. It's been a pleasure. And if you've made it this far, let me know in the comments. Why don't you say Super 8 Kodak 50D? I don't even know if that's a real film stock. But anyway, lots of love, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya. Bye.